Hello, hello. Welcome to today's podcast. Yes. I was sitting here thinking about what I was going to talk about with you today. And, if we were having a conversation at a table, I would tell you, hey, I invite you, grab a chair, pull up, get a cup of coffee. Let's talk, let's chat. And what I'm about to give you is a buffet of snacks, right? And here we also have fun. So today I want to talk about, I call this like a visionary's guide to building your way. The visionary's guide to staying renewed, restored, and accepted. But I know that this just isn't for visionaries. It's for the women and men who are building a career or a business that have lost themselves and abandoned themselves in the vision building process. The performance, the people pleasing, the proving aspects that keep happening, the building things other people's way. The even if you have a great vision, maybe it's been clouded by people's voices, or maybe you still have that drawing on a napkin that you're afraid to get out there because maybe you think that people really are going to criticize you and condemn you, and they're going to come out of the woodwork and tell you to stop, and you're going to be forced to make a choice. And sometimes we pivot and about face and run from our dreams and our vision, and other times we face it head on and we keep building no matter what. And so this is for you, the builders, the visionaries, the career, I'm going to call you artists, business builders, you. By the way, if you are a millionaire or a billionaire, I'm talking to you also, because it's you who has that vision, and you have provided ways for people to make a living. You've provided jobs because of your vision. So thank you. In foster care, I was never allowed to have a vision. My vision was very short term, based on how I could survive the very environments of where I lived, of places I was forced to stay in, places that were not safe. I had a vision. The thing that kept me going every single day was holding on to the hope that I would be alive, that I could get through every day. And for me, I've always had a vision. I remember at the age of 16 walking home from school one day, or walking somewhere, and I kept asking myself as like third person, Tiffany, what do you want to do when you grow up? So I was literally talking to myself on the sidewalk at the age of 16 saying, I really want to be a lawyer. And then I would say, no, 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 no. I want to be a foster parent. Because at this point in my life, I had been through several foster homes and group homes, and I was like, okay, I could do a better job than these people. But then I'm like, no, I don't want to be a foster parent. But I've had the vision of speaking in front of people, speaking to people, using my voice for transformation, and it's always been there. But it got sidelined by people who would steal my vision, remove my vision, and tell me that foster kids don't get to have dreams or visions. Oh, you want to go to college? That's not part of the plan. Your plan is to work at McDonald's to buy a car. That's the plan. Okay, so you're telling me that if I want to go to college, I have to wait because your plan tells me that that's not my plan? Like, okay. So I've had foster parents that have also talked me out of my dreams, goals, vision. And so I happily said deuces, peace out, piss off, gave him the peace sign, and left. Because at this part in my life, at the age of 18, 19, their vision wasn't mine. And I couldn't figure out why all my life I had an issue. I was deemed troubled and angry and all this stuff by foster parents and therapists. And I was told that I was rebellious and stubborn. And of course, the religious labels, of course, by other foster parents who were religiously abusive. So I was labeled things my whole life. However, those labels aren't a bad thing. Yes, I am rebellious, and yes, I am stubborn, but not in a negative aspect. In the aspect of my vision is mine. I get to have it. My dreams are mine. I've wanted to be a ballerina since as long as I can remember as a little girl. And I just remember having this vision. I even had physical dreams about me dancing on stages and going in a castle dressed in ballerina stuff. And now I live my life according to the movements of a ballerina with grace, style, tact, and grace. And even as I'm talking to you, I'm moving my body in a way that is very graceful and very like ballerina like because that's how I move. I move in a rhythm. I move to the beat of my own drum. Did I get to live that way? No. But I've always wanted to, and now I have ways to keep my vision in front of me, so I keep going. You know, I lived my life in such a way of needing permission and proving that I didn't accept parts of myself. I rejected parts of my vision because it didn't go in line with what I was being told. I have, like, I put some things on my social media, which you can find on TikTok. You can find me as Tiffany Rose Quinones. On Instagram, The Uplifting Coach, or Tiffany Rose Quinones. On Facebook, Tiffany Rose Quinones. My business page is Tiffany Quinones. Okay? You can find me on there. Also on YouTube, Tiffany Rose Quinones. As you can hear, it's a consistent theme. And so I realized that after years of performance and people pleasing and thinking I needed permission, I realized that there's peace when the performance ends. There's peace when the performance stops. And there's peace when we stop seeking validation from people to live the life that we were destined to live. Nowhere does it say that you need permission to live a life that you create that's wonderful. Nowhere. Do you want to know who it is that slaps that shit on us, that tells us that we have to have permission? People. It's people. It's people that come along, and I call these people dream stealers. There's a book on Amazon, which you can go research, go look it up. It's called The Dream Giver. The author is Dr. Bruce Wilkinson. The first part of the book is in story theme about a man named Ordinary who lived in the land of familiar. I talk about this book all the time. Now, insert yourself in the story, okay? Ordinary is a man who lives in the land of familiar, who does the same thing day in, day out. Meanwhile, he has a dream, but he doesn't know that he's able to live his dream because nobody has given him permission. However, it's not people that give us the dream. It's the dream giver, in all caps himself, aka God, that gives us the dreams and visions that we have. In the book, you can see where Ordinary starts looking at his life, and it's where he's going to his job every single day, doing the same thing day in, day out. Then he goes home, does the same thing, watches TV, then gets his pajamas on, brushes his teeth, and goes to bed. Well, this is repeated until he gets this like stirring, this spark, this vision, like there's something that's better than what I'm doing. So he sets off. He finds a feathered pen that the dream giver gives him on the windowsill, I believe, or a desk. And he sets off and he leaves. But he has the dream stealers, aka his friends and his family. And there's no actual names like Bob, Bill, Sally, Sue, or Mary in the book. They're like ordinary, and I forget and I forget the other names, but then there's like the land of the giants. Like when you go to live out your dreams and visions, you're gonna meet the giants, aka the dream stealers, and the people that try to talk you out, and the people that fight you and try to get you off course and distract you, all the glittery shiny object stuff we go after, and realizing that we're not even fulfilled or satisfied with what we're doing. And so there's something that happens, but he sets off and goes to this far off land. And this part of the book actually stirred some sadness because the dream giver asks Ordinary to surrender his dream. And he's like, but I don't want to. I've been through all this stuff. I've gotten this far. I've been beat up, and I've got more to do and more to go. I've got farther to go. And but the dream giver's like, give me your dream. This could look like a pivot. This could look like you're doing all the right things, paying for the things, the masterminds, the coaches, the mentors, getting in groups, reading the books, right? Doing all the things, but there's something that still feels unfulfilled. And maybe you've reached your dream and you've reached your vision, or maybe it feels overwhelming, but you still go after it. But then you're asked to surrender it. I'm sure that felt like a gut punch when I said that. But what would happen if your dream and vision is better than what you think or even imagine? Like, what if your dream and vision doesn't need or require permission? Not from your parents, not from your friends, not from your spouses, or your children, or your coworkers, good grief, not your coworkers, or your boss, not your boss, good grief, not your boss. But what if your dream and vision is far better than what you imagined? For example, I've had a dream to speak on stages, but I had to start somewhere. So, where did God have me start speaking? On a church stage. And most people of the time would think, well, that's too small. But is it? Because then my dream grew, my vision grew, and now I have this amazing, thriving podcast. I had no idea I was going to do a podcast. I didn't plan on doing a podcast. It didn't even look in my future that I'd be doing a podcast. But it's still a form of speaking. It's a way that I get to use my skill, my gift, and it transforms lives. And now I'm building something else, which, by the way, I would love it if you would please reply in the comments. Tell me, how can I support you and how can I serve you? I'm building this massive movement behind the scenes, and it is like a community for what I'm talking about, who I'm speaking to, the women and men who are building careers, who have lost themselves in the busyness and the chaos, but you get to return home to yourself and your vision and dreams, you get to go after your way. And in this, you embrace your confidence, and your your confidence increases, and so does your energy. And you're no longer ruled by performance proving or burnout from all the exhaustion. And your vision will come into full focus, sharper, more refined, because you'll be able to put all that extra stuff in the trash that doesn't serve you. So that's what I'm building behind the scenes. So I would love to know also with what specifically about this podcast would you like to hear more of? Please let me know so I can start bringing a little bit more of that. I appreciate your feedback. And so let me know again how I can support you and how I can serve you. Okay? Especially since I'm building something phenomenal and fantastic. And I'll put my email in the description so you can reach out. Also, I would love it if you could also subscribe and follow my show on YouTube and my podcast platforms out there, Spotify, Apple, and anything else, anywhere else. And also send these podcasts to someone, a friend. Invite them in the listening experience and say, hey, I've got something for you. Because what I'm giving isn't just another strategy. Well, step one, you're going to do this. Here are 5 steps to reach your dreams and visions without burnout. No, 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 no. Because those strategies that I give you will lead you to burnout. Because they could very well, right? So in the story, we see that Ordinary gives his dream back to the dream giver, which is God. He surrenders his dream. And then all of a sudden, we see something happen and take place where he sets off towards his dream and he reaches his dream. But he didn't realize he was in his dream. How many of you today are have forgotten about your dreams and visions, and that you could very well be in the middle of your dream and vision? And how many of you have forgotten that perhaps you're already there? Because when ordinary reaches his dream, he's already in it, and he realizes it took him a little bit, but he's already living it. He's already doing it. And it's very interesting that we can forget that the dreams and visions that we've been given, there's no, like, we're not necessarily, like, people can hand us a blueprint, but we can also burn out from performing and proving our way through the blueprint. People can give us instruction, but it's also people that can deter us off of our path because they're telling us what they think we should be doing with our vision and our dreams. There are people that might mean well and they're doing the best that they can, but don't realize that the word choices that they're using are causing, some extra pressure. And it's like, why am I being pressured to get my stuff out there? Why am I being pressured to go after my vision and dreams? And so a lot of times we forget, we allow people unknowingly to direct us and drive us to where they think we should go. And so we'll follow what they're saying, but then all of a sudden we will come to a complete stop. Like, there are some who are listening right now who have been on the wrong path. And maybe you just need to know that you have a permission slip to get back to the beginning of where you want, of what you want. And maybe you just need a renewal, that you're not returning to who you were before. You are becoming who you were always meant to be before all the noise, all the pressure, all the burnout, the expectations and survival patterns that got layered on top. Perhaps you are also in the process of getting restored. Your dream and visions are getting restored because you've stopped abandoning yourself. Your energy is coming back because you're finding what you're doing brings you immense joy. All that other stuff that you've abandoned yourself for doesn't. Your voice comes back. Your voice might be coming back. How cool is that? Your energy. Imagine boundaries come back. Your vision is coming back. And when you accept the parts of you that have spent decades trying to earn belonging, approval, safety, permission, and worth, that part of you that kept proving and performing, achieving and adapting, is the deeper thing. It's you finding your way back to you. It's you reclaim your voice, your identity, you stop burning out. And it's like think of it as a musical piece, right? I'm a musical person. I also played the piano in my life, which was super fun. I'm a musical person. I can find notes when I sing them to myself because I used to play the piano, and I see things in musical patterns. That's just how I operate. I always have a song in my head. I love singing. I love you can put anything to a tune, anything. Make it fun. Put a little jingle to something. That's how you remember stuff. It's how things can be easily remembered, right? But it's the finding ourself beneath all the noise, because what's left at the end of the day, when it comes to us having our dreams and visions, is not what other people have tried to insert into our lives. What's left are the very parts of us that we have rejected, which is the parts of us which I just shared with you. Go back and listen to it, which is the renewed, restored, and accepted parts. Acceptance is one great key that helps us to stop rejecting the best parts of us that allow and enable our vision and dreams to come to pass. And I'm telling you, when there is no vision, we lack a life worth living. We don't have life. We're waking up, we're breathing, and I'm gonna say something that might trigger you. Just when I look around, and so put your hand on your heart. When I look around and I see the faces and I hear the conversations from people that have no vision, have no dreams other than going to their job and other than just living and waking up and doing it all over the same thing every day, it's like there's life beyond this. Like, this job is not the career, the business. It's not the end all be all. It's not the final destination. It's not the end point. What if, even at the age you are today, what if your life is just beginning? And maybe if you are listening to this for the first time, it might sound a little strange. So you're going to want to listen to this one. Listen to the one I did yesterday on June 27th, 26th. It's going to tie in what I'm talking about today. And keep listening, because what you hear the first time is the awakening. Then, for every time you hear it after that, you're going to hear things that you didn't hear the first time. I call those sword sharpening events. Pressing play. And if that's all you have the energy to do, it's that, then go do that. But don't do it as a checkoff. Oh, I got to listen, or I'm going to be. No, you're not getting graded. This is a choose for yourself how you're going to keep moving the needle forward in your life. Nobody can force you. Podcasts are optional, but it is entirely up to you whether or not you start living the life that you want on your terms. Now, I'm going to start closing with this. In foster care, I was never given permission to have dreams or visions. I had to keep them primarily to myself. So I also had a vision for a family, to have a wonderful family, not just kids of my own, but we're talking like people that have accepted me for who I am without having to prove my worth, to be chosen, not from a clearance rack of being perfect and out of performance and proving, but chosen already for who I am. And that's happened. So I've had a vision for things in my life. Hi, kitty, kitty. Oh, sorry, there's a cat there. I've had a vision and dream for my life, and it didn't look like everything that people handed to me. Because when you hear repeatedly, over and over, once a foster kid, always a foster kid, what? What the hell does that even mean? And who the hell are you speaking to? I want to say that my rebellious, stubborn, defiant demeanor is what got me here today, because I don't tolerate that. I don't tolerate things spoken to me, or even what people speak over themselves, that keeps them in a detrimental state of of not having the life that they want. No, it's not up to anybody else. It wasn't up to anybody else that I made the decision to step up and do what I'm doing now. It was up to me. But I also had help along the way. I had the dream stealers that tried to steal my dream. They taught me I don't want anything to be like them. I don't want to be like them. I don't want to do what they do. But it's since birth, my voice has been a foundation of what got me here. And you want to know, even when I was in foster care, when I would talk, there are some people that would listen to my story. They would listen to me. They wouldn't interrupt me. But then they would always say something that made me question, like, why the hell are you telling me that? Well, you don't sound like you're in foster care. First off, you just exposed your judgmental beliefs about foster kids. So I helped, I probably helped to deconstruct it, but people don't end up in foster care due to choices they made. I didn't put myself there before I was one due to my own choices. It was the choices of my birth parents that chose alcohol. But I also wonder, would I be doing what I'm doing if I didn't go into the depths of foster care? I don't think so. I look at my life and I think I would be a different person. And I shudder at that because I don't know if I'd be doing what I'm doing. And this brings me immense joy. But I also realized very recently that I'm already living my dreams. I'm already in it. And there are things that, of course, that are in my life right now that are not part of my dreams and vision. But that is something I'm working with God on to create. And so that's what I need your feedback on, that I asked for in the podcast. So I'm going to leave my email for you to reach out to me. Let me know how I can support you, how I can serve you. Because like I said, I am building this massive movement behind the scenes. And also, I would love it if you would also send me a testimonial as to how this podcast has transformed your life. Even if it's one small thing, it's okay. I would love to celebrate with you. And yeah, so that concludes today's episode.